How did it not see this giant tree? And it crashed down there. Hey, if you don't know me, my name's Jake and I create content here to help solo creators on the go. So I test and review lots of drones, cameras, lenses, things like that, and give you tips and tutorials on how to use them. So if that's something that interests you, consider subscribing. Today I want to compare the active track on the Mavic 3 and the obstacle avoidance of the Mavic 3 to the Skydio 2, what has been the best tracking and obstacle avoidance drone available on the market. And we'll also get into some of the other differences, but that's going to be the main focus, so let's jump into it. Now the Skydio is really easy to hand launch and hand catch. You just basically push and hold this button. It says flying in 3, 2, 1, and then you let go when it takes off. And the cool thing is too, you can select where you want the drone to follow you from. And then based on your movement, the drone will figure out if you want to be from behind or in front or on the side and record you from there. So let's do a little test. Now flying with the Mavic's a lot different because you have to use the controller. This is the smart controller. If you didn't get the RC Pro combo package or the Cine version with the RC Pro, then you end up with the normal controller, which is about the same size by the time you add your phone on there and stuff like that. But you have to use this controller to fly with the drone. You can't just set it down and use your phone or use a beacon or anything like that, at least not yet. Who knows what it'll come with. But you can hand launch and hand catch very similarly. Hold the drone like this, or from the front is usually the safest. If your fingers are right under here where the arms fold out, that's good. And then push and hold, push the takeoff button, push and hold this till the circle is completely green, and then hold it away from you and let go. This drone does have really great obstacle avoidance. It's by far the best that they've put on any DJI drones. If I fly right at us, pretty sure it'll avoid us. Just like that, it went around us, I mean, from 20 feet out. It decided to go around us, so that's good. But, how's it active track? So it did okay. Definitely not as good as the Skydio did when active tracking, and the Skydio is much faster and much better at figuring out what direction it's supposed to be at relative to you in regards to your motion. So you put it from the front, the Skydio responds almost instantly to the front, whereas the DJI kind of struggled there for a minute to figure out where the front was and how to get in front. When running, both drones perform really well from the front and from the back. But the DJI drone definitely struggled at the end there, where it basically almost ran into the ground. And I'm not running over snow, so it's got some pretty good contrast, but yeah, however that happened, it happened. But that's not everything. Both of these drones offer some pretty good obstacle avoidance. Fortunately, there's a big forest with a lot of trees and a path running through it right near here that we can test these out in. And here it is, the Skydio and Mavic 3 torture test. Now, I know the Skydio can handle this. I've flown it here before, but we're gonna start out with flying the Skydio as it tracks me through these woods. Here we go. Always a little bit terrifying, but no issues. It avoids all the trees, tracks me through this whole entire area with no problems at all. Now the big question is, will the Mavic 3 be able to do the same thing while active tracking me through these woods? Gotta be honest, I'm a little scared to try it, but we're gonna try it. Well, as I feared, the Mavic 3 did not see a full-size tree that was right next to it. Just a little way over there, and it ran into it. So fortunately, there's no damage other than a couple of props that got chewed up. And yeah, but Skydio still is the king of being able to track and avoid obstacles as we go. We're gonna go ahead and hike out the rest of the way out to the beach out here, and we'll talk about some of the other differences between these two drones and why you might consider one over the other. So as you saw, the Skydio is still king of obstacle avoidance and active tracking, but there are a lot of other ways these drones compare. Let's break down some of the differences in the place where the Mavic 3 wins over the Skydio 2 and places where the Skydio 2 wins over the Mavic 3. The Mavic 3 wins when it comes to overall footage quality. Not only do you get up to 5.1K, but you also get 10-bit D-Log, which gives you a lot more room to be able to color grade and post and to be able to hand down professional results. I've used this on a lot of professional shoots with big name companies, and everybody's been happy with it. Another way the Mavic 3 wins is photos. It gets a 20 megapixel still photo because it has a 4/3 inch sensor, which also enables it to get much better low light performance. So if you're looking to turn over professional video or photo results, the DJI Mavic 3 definitely wins there. It also has a much longer range than the Skydio 2. And although Skydio 2 introduced a new Skydio, the Skydio 2 Plus, which gives it better range for the signal for the remote controller and stuff, the DJI Mavic 3 still wins hands down for signal strength and distance that you can control this at. Either one of these drones really will fly beyond your visual line of sight when it comes down to it, especially if you're using the controllers. But the Mavic 3 definitely has the better signal quality for distance. Another area the DJI wins is battery life. They say 46 minutes, realistically 35 to maybe 38 minutes, depending on how you're flying and the conditions you're flying in, but the DJI has a load of flight time. Now recently Skydio did introduce a new battery, which gives you about I think 5-6 extra minutes of flight time, so it goes from like 21 minutes to 25, 26 minutes, which is pretty good, but it's still nowhere close to the Mavic 3. The other thing the Mavic 3 wins at is cold temperatures. I've flown this in 38 below zero and a 30-mile-an-hour wind at 38 below zero, and the Mavic 3 has handled it no problem. Now I have flown this at 8 to 12 below zero, and it's handled it okay, but it is much more temperamental as far as keeping the batteries warm. You have to keep the batteries warm before you take off, or the Skydio just won't take off at all. When it comes to portability, the DJI Mavic 3 does win out over the Skydio a little bit because it is foldable and you can tuck it into a camera bag a little bit easier. However, As you've seen, the Skydio can tuck into the front of my camera bag without too much problems, but because of the way the obstacle avoidance works, the cameras, I have to be very careful to make sure those lenses don't get scratched or pushed against something that could scratch them. This is meant to be flown by an operator. It's meant to be flown by you, controlling it and doing the movements, the things that you want to do with it to capture the footage you want to or the photos you want to. And so it's built to be controlled and flown that way. So it responds very much that way. You can turn obstacle avoidance off. You can fly it in the dark if you want to. You can fly it in all kinds of conditions that the Skydio 2 just won't fly in. So you might be saying, well, how does the Skydio still rate compared to the Mavic 3, or how does it even still hold in this? This thing is still the best thing when it comes to tracking and obstacle avoidance. There's nothing that has come close to the Skydio 2 on the market yet, as you saw today. This crashed, this did not, same exact spots. The Skydio 2 is just a beast when it comes to that. So if you're looking for a drone that is going to track you through all kinds of obstacles, this is it. The Skydio 2, you can't beat it. The other thing that the Skydio 2 beats the Mavic 3 out is controllability. You can use your phone, you can use the beacon, you can use a regular controller if you want to, and all of that enables you to be able to control the drone in the different ways that you want to, while also still utilizing the full-on obstacle avoidance for 360 degrees that this drone is known for. Now, while it only has 12 megapixel stills, it does take very nice photos, and the video coming out of the Skydio, while it's not 10-bit and it's not D-Log, so you can't color grade it, you get what you get out of this. It is a really nice image, it's saturated, it looks good, and so it really enables you to pull the footage straight off this drone and put it out there, share it to social media, share it to wherever you're gonna be putting it on YouTube, something like that, and really makes it easy to edit, easy to pull the footage off, and make something with it really quickly and really easily. Really, these drones are aimed at two very different types of people. If you want a drone that will fly and take most of the burden off of you flying, you can put a minimal amount of control input into, but the drone will fly and capture footage of you doing whatever you want to do when you're out in places like this or wherever you might be. The Skydio 2 is the one that wins hands down. The Mavic 3 is much more aimed at people who are capturing high quality footage and high quality photos and then utilizing that to make videos, to make movies, to make promotional videos, client videos, photos, whatever that might be. That's really what this is aimed at, because it is a great camera with great flight time, but it is built to be controlled by a person at the controls using the remote controller most of the time. Now it's nice, it has lots of smart features built in, it has obstacle avoidance that works okay. Apparently not as good as it should, or at least as it was claimed. No doubt they'll improve some of that through firmware updates in the future, but it definitely had its fair share of issues, whereas this performed flawlessly as the flying tracking drone camera that really it's built to be. Now, if you want to learn how to improve your drone videos and your drone photos, click or tap there. I put together a little playlist that will walk you through some really easy ways you can get great drone video, great drone photos. As always, you can ask me questions in the comments below, or you can join my live stream, which happens Wednesday nights at 4 p.m. Alaska time, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'll see you again soon in the next video. Cheers.